to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. Your host, Eddie Arnell, my man, G Witt. What's going on, G Witt?
Tighten up, baby. Tighten up.
Tighten up, man. First and foremost, man, I appreciate G Witt and Jay Lee holding it down for me on the last episode, man. Was doing a little bit of traveling, and so was able to enjoy some time off and was able to do that. So as we start this week's show, man, week 16, want to say Merry Christmas and welcome to everybody as they join us tonight for the show. Get your comments, get your questions in on this episode of Halftime Adjustments. G Witt, man, coming in 4-game losing streak, man. The odds were stacking up against the Titans today. Tannehill out, Nate Davis out, Ben Jones out for the rest of the season. Those are the negative things, right? And then you got Danico Burks, Avery, and Cunningham coming back today, hopefully to add a boost, giving you a deep threat down the field and giving you some defensive players back. One interesting stat, G Witt, I know we've talked about it a bunch, man, but plus 45 score difference in the first half for the Titans, the top 5 in the NFL, minus 80 in the second half. So you already knew, man, it was gonna be it's gonna be a molehills to climb to get the victory today. Texans come in playing tough, man. Barely lost to Dallas, barely lost to the Chiefs in overtime. Results: Texans 19, Titans 14. 5 straight losses, G Witt, for the two-tone blue. Your initial reaction, man, after you had time to get home and thaw off and warm up a little bit.
Well, just to let the emotion calm down from the end of that game and everything.
Yeah.
In all honesty, man, I had really, really thought that they had a shot at winning this game. In all honesty, I really did. Especially after the way they played against the Chargers. I was like, okay, defense is finally clicking again. You saw them get some pressure and everything. So I was thinking against the Texans, they would come in no all on. And again, I'll say this. I said that last week predicated because I thought Tannehill was going to be playing. But even with Malik Willis playing, I thought, we might do okay.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, our boy Todd has literally proven us right time and time again that there is absolutely no way he should be calling plays in the NFL on anybody's offense.
I agree.
And there's absolutely no way. And I say it like this, and then I'll let you go because I said it during the game to anyone who was around me. Why in the world, if you got a quarterback that came up in an RPO system,
thank you.
Why in the world would you not be running RPOs? and this is the reason. This is the reason.
Uh-oh. Well, it looks like G was having some difficulty connecting. Or was that me? Uh-oh.
Okay, you good?
Yeah. Did you lose me? I'm back. Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but mediocre as a thrower, he's mediocre.
Yeah.
The arm talent is there. He's just not an NFL quarterback. If you put him in RPO position, meaning he's in the pistol, Derrick Henry's on the side of him, you give the defense something to think about because they're going to look at it like we got to watch out for 2 people running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he can make some throws, especially on the run.
Right.
So you have to be concerned about that. So you got a three-way option. But when you put him under center, it's only going to be even if he does play action, it's going to be weak. And the thing that makes this even worse, you had a suspect offensive line. So why wouldn't you run RPOs to take the pressure off of that offensive line? And that's the reason why I say, they can say what they want to. I'm going to call it like I always call it. And I said it's just dumb football today. It's just dumb football. And I'm sorry, as much as I've always liked him as a coach, Mike Vrabel has fallen into Jeff Fisher category with me right now because there's no way you allow your offensive coordinator to call the play that he called today with the quarterback that you had in there. There's just no way you let that happen. So you obviously agreed with the calls. So you definitely have fallen into Jeff Fisher, the pretty status with me as far as that's concerned.
It didn't make no sense. I agree with you, man. Him being a head coach, he hears the calls. You know he does. He hears it on both sides of the ball. And why would he let that happen? You know, time and time again, not just today, but in this 5-game losing streak, which doesn't make any sense at all. So my initial reaction, man, was as I was texting you guys during the game, you know, this team is almost as already defeated. That's what they look like early on in the game. Like they didn't, I mean, there was no effort there, no fire there. I think the 4th down stop by the defense there in the 3rd quarter really turned the game around and got them playing better ball. You know, you had more injuries again. Bud left the game again. NPF left with an ankle. I mean, you just don't have any answers on either side of the ball. And it was another thing I wrote down. I put, where was the RPO? A bunch of question marks. And, you know, it's like you had the one RPO they ran in the second half when he faked the ball and threw it to him. I'm back.
Okay.
All right. You know, I was talking about the RPO and the lack of it. I think it was 3 times they ran it in the game, if I'm not mistaken. And then on the 3rd one they ran, he faked it and threw it to NWI and never came back to that play, which was a good play, you know. So,
man, I'm telling you. I mean, well, okay, let's go look at the first drive of the 3rd quarter. When they got the ball, they stopped on that 4th down.
Right.
Run an end around sweep with Burks.
Yep.
You ran an RPO with Henry. You ran an RPO and Malik ran the RPO when they scored a touchdown.
Right.
And then the next series you get the ball, you're in good position, and you put him up on the center. Why? Why, when you know his best play is the RPO?
Right.
And it wasn't like they were making mistakes with the RPO. He was the only thing I gave Malik. I was complaining about Malik when he ran the RPO, when he took off and ran on his own. I'm like, dude, just run. Quit trying to dance.
Yeah, he needed to be more decisive on his run.
Be more decisive. Just go ahead and see, take what you see.
Yeah.
You know, but no, I you know, Todd Downing definitely. Rick, and the funny thing about it, what Rex Ryan said this morning on ESPN.
That is true.
Absolutely
true. You need to be fired if he's not on the field the whole game.
If he's not on the field on 3rd down, if Malik Willis throws the ball more than 15 times a game, if Derrick Henry doesn't run the ball at least 30 times in the game,
never happened.
The offensive coordinator need to get fired. And all 3 of those things happen.
That's right.
All 3. Right. Why are you going to go for it on 4th and 8 and not have Derrick Henry in?
No sense at all. And I'm gonna flip it over and go for the defense first, man, because I know we're gonna talk about the offense a bunch today. So just looking at the defense, 285 yards total for the Texans, 215 pass, 70 rush. You know, Davis Mills 17 of 28, 178 and a touchdown, a sack, and an interception. Royce Freeman 16 for 32. Now, I thought the defense played really soft today, G. Like again, we was texting back and forth during the game. I don't understand. You know, like I said, I've been saying for the last doing this losing streak. If you gonna go down swinging. Don't play soft and take the punch. Give the punch. And so the coaching is really baffling me, man, at this point in time on both sides of the ball. And when you got a defense that's struggling on the back end and pass rush wise, as we've been having the last 4 weeks, you know, Danico comes back today. His presence is ultimately felt
immediate.
Right. From the beginning of the game, even though he had 1 sack, man, but he was in the back for doing what he does, right? Causing those pressures. But again, you got DBs playing 10-yard, playing the sticks coverage on 3rd and 5, giving up. I mean, I just don't understand, G. I mean, we saw a couple of blitzes in the first half with the linebackers blitzing, but then they got away from it, and then he let the Texans just drive the ball down the field without even putting any pressure on Davis Mills. And so
that's the thing that got me, man. I'm at the game watching it now, and I'm like, dude, you're not getting any pressure at all. And you're just letting them sit back there. You're not getting any pressure. And when you do get pressure, you're losing containment.
Yep.
And I'm like, and then on top of that, I'm trying to figure out exactly what kind of coverage you're running, because I'm watching Trey Avery, and he is already 7 to 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. And before the ball is snapped, he's steadily backing up.
Right.
I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, you're giving away pitch and catch.
Easy.
I mean, come on now. You got to be able to, if nothing else, you got to be able to slow them down. Don't let them get them 5-yard pitch. Because every time Houston had a first down, they were getting 5 yards because it's a pitch and catch. You
Right.
play it 8 to 10 off the receiver. Of course, we had some things that just didn't go our way today. I mean, that fumble by Davis Mills into the end zone,
Right.
it just didn't go our way. We were running the ball pretty well, and Derrick Henry, he gets the ball away from his body and gets it punched out and everything. And you just see things, and then of course we having decent plays, and you get penalties.
Right.
They fumbled the snap, and it's supposed to be 2nd and 12, and we get called for offsides, and it's Jeffrey Simmons who's right on the ball. So I'm like, dude, it's just one of them things where it's the football follies, man. It's really bad right now, and like I said, it's coming down. Really, we text each other back and forth. Like we said, it looks like the team is dialing it in.
Yeah, it just looks bad, man. It looks really bad that, here 5 weeks ago now, this team was 7-3. It just beat Green Bay, flying high, in the talk of the top 5 of the NFL. And now you go 5 weeks later and they can't even win a football, can't even score more than 14 points, which is crazy. But, again, the defense, 5 of 14 on third down conversions the Texans had today, excuse me. Monty Rice, like what you've been sent out of him, 9 tackles. Bayer had 9 tackles. Dr. Gibbons had 8 tackles and a pick. But I can't say enough about Nico's return today, how big it was for Jeffrey. You actually saw Jeffrey play better today. He looked healthier today than he had the past few weeks. And I think it's just because Nico was there taking some of the pressure off of him.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about it. I mean, Jeffrey, you see Pop-Tart in there. He was doing some good work and everything. Yep. You saw Nico in there. If there was a player that probably disappointed me more than anybody, it really was Zach Cunningham.
What happened to him?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm like, but that's the thing we're dealing with right now. And in all honesty, because like I said, I was all in my feelings leaving the game, man. I was all in my feelings, and man, I'm like, this is the dumbest exhibition of football I've ever seen. And it was on both sides of the ball.
Right.
I mean, I understand you don't want to blitz, you want to run just only rush 4 and everything, but when your line is not getting there, and on top of that, you're slow. Why have you got a linebacker covering a wide receiver? I'm like, Gibbons cannot cover that guy.
No,
there's no way. So they were trying to mix up everything. I give them credit for that. And again, I'm not knocking the defense because still, in all honesty, they held them to 19 points.
You win, right? You normally win the game.
If you score another touchdown, you win the game.
Right.
But you just saw really the ineffectiveness of this offense in the fact that it goes back to what we said. We said a couple of years ago. They're not using the players' skills to try to benefit them to win the game. And I go back to Malik Willis. He's an RPO quarterback. What did Baltimore do when they drafted Lamar Jackson?
Well, they put
the RPOs in there.
Yeah.
That's what he runs. So why wouldn't you do the same for Malik Willis, knowing that's what he come out of, instead of trying to make him run the offense like Tannehill will run it? See, that's just dumb coach. That's not coaching to me. That's about the same as what Urban Meyer was doing last year with Jacksonville. It's the exact same thing.
It was.
It's just the epitome of dumb football, man. And like I said, it starts at the top. Grable always says it starts with him. He's doggone skippy. It starts with him. He's allowing these coaches to do that. And I don't care how many players I understand you use a lot of players. And I understand even with the offensive line, you had basically
practice squad players.
You had practice squad players because Dennis Davis is a practice squad player in anybody's eyes.
Right.
You had 5 practice squad players, but you didn't move your offense. You didn't adjust your offense to match what those guys could do. You knew the pass blocking was going to be suspect. So why didn't you run RPOs where it'd be quicker? And they ain't got to sustain blocks for a long time instead of having Malik Willis line up on the center and having to drop back 7 yards and hopefully hopefully he finds something, especially when you got receivers that really don't get open.
Yeah. Let me get some of these comments and questions there, man. Let's see. Ryden says, I believe our team is mentally tapped out. Margarita, man, thank you for joining us tonight. She said, yeah, I'm done, heartbroken, upset, selling my tickets and parking pass together. So, Jay Lou, man, he could join us tonight. He says, not official territory, but malarkey friendship is ruining the season because he's hard-headed. Yep. Let's see. Dion says, the same reason why we talking about Todd Downing, that you don't have Henry on 3rd and 2, Downing is an idiot. And one thing, Dion said too about McCreary, he's the only DB that's playing aggressive, like Malcolm Butler used to do. Yeah, he's playing hard, man. He's tackling well. He's coming up, and you just start. Andrew Adams, man, he continues to go down here, and I guess that's why. See, one thing, G Witt, that you notice, and I know you have too, and I know J. Lou has too. They're on the practice squad for a reason. And when you see him on the field getting all those reps, you can see why. Andrew Adams, he gets faked out by Davis Mills today, and he scores a touchdown when he fumbles. Oh, well, he didn't score, but he fumbles in the end zone. But still, he makes that tackle. That's a field goal instead of a touchdown.
That's a field goal.
That's right.
But it's just one of them things, man. Now, we can go into that. And normally I would say that's an excuse. Normally I would say that's an excuse. But again, you need wins, and you're not trying to adjust what you do in order to get wins. You're still trying to fit square pegs into round holes, and it just don't work. It just don't. And that's the problem you're running into, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You're not adjusting and it goes back to what we say. There are some coaches who coach the game. Mm-hmm. They really coach the game. They coach what they have, and they adjust to what they have. Perfect example, when we had Dean Pease. Dean Pease was pretty much a good example of that. He catered his defense to what those players could do and worked it that way. Mm-hmm. Todd Downing is specifically a systems coach, and he has a system, and he tries to make everybody fit that system instead of adjusting the system.
He don't have no system.
And he really does.
He don't have no system.
You run RPOs in and rounds and 2 RPOs in the end around, and you go 50 yards in no time. And when you ran RPOs, you were mostly getting positive yards out of them.
Right. It's almost like since he was working and it wasn't his normal system.
We can't do it.
Yeah, we can't do it.
Yeah. We gotta get back. We gotta get back to doing like we were doing with Ryan Tannehill. Keep him under center. Rolling Malik out to the side. Giving him an option of whether to throw the ball or run the ball, instead of trying to have him sit back there in the pocket. You're trying to win games. Your time for developing him, in all honesty, that's off season. That's next year. You're trying to win games. And you going around like we're gonna try to make sure he throws from the pocket. That's just stupidity to me. And I told my wife we got home. I said I don't blame Malik Willis. I really don't. He made some bad. He's a rookie, and we all knew he was a project when they drafted him in the 3rd round. The one thing we said about him was that the arm talent is there. Mm-hmm. The question is, can he function in the NFL offense? And we knew the answer to that question was no. But I blame the coaches on this. Is all on Vrabel, Todd Downing, Shane Bowen, Anthony Midget, the offensive line coach. I blame all of them, man. Keith Carter. All of them. Tony Dews. I really won't knock Tony Dews because the running backs actually do pretty good. But it's just stupidity to me. And like I said, I think the coaches have given up. In all honesty.
Well, the way they've been coaching these last 5 weeks, it doesn't make any sense. But 5 of 14 on 3rd down conversions for the defense, 2 for 4 in the red zone for Houston today. And so let's go ahead and flip it over to the offensive side of the ball since we've already been talking about it. 272 yards of total offense, 88 pass, 184 rush, 4 for 12 3rd down conversions. And I think today, we've been talking about it a lot over the last few weeks. I think today, everybody's been talking about Todd, right? We've been talking about Todd Downing in depth. I think today we really saw what kind of coach he is today. Now, I know we brought it up weeks ago about once he gets off script, he has no idea what to do. You know, during the week, this past week, he was talking about, or this week, he was talking about opening up the playbook more for Malik. He's more comfortable, you know, doing more things. What was that at? So no creativity, you know, deep routes instead of the short to intermediate routes. I mean, you got a young quarterback that is questionable inside the pocket. Why not give him some easy throws? Yeah, I mean, everything was deep. Everything was deep. And yeah, like you already mentioned, no pocket rollouts, no naked bootlegs, none of that stuff, man. And you know, and I noticed that Derrick Henry he took the sleeves off after he fumbled that last night. There's 4 straight games with a fumble that he's lost. You know, something going on there. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Even you guys mentioned it on the show over the weekend, that there's something going on with Derrick Henry. I don't know if it's the sleeves. I don't know what it is. For him to have 4 straight games where he's fumbled the ball and lost all 4 of them. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I don't blame Malik as much because we know he has limitations. He wasn't ready. And another thing too, G-Wit. So they get the ball back, right? Driving down, trying to go down and take the lead. And you have no more timeouts, right? And this is on the interception that he threw. What were the routes they ran?
The first one.
The second one. This is the second one going as we got the ball, getting ready to drive, trying to drive down to take the lead to win the game under 2 minutes. What was it? Did you see the routes that they ran? Double slants, no timeouts, double slants. Why would you do that to something right there in the middle field? Try to work the outside to the sideline to try to save some of the time. Again, Malik, okay, yeah, he stared down the receiver, but again, you're not putting your players in a position to where they could be successful and extend the drive. So.
Well, and I'm trying to make sure I know which drive you're talking about.
Yeah, the last interception he threw.
Oh, the last one. The last one he threw. That was after the one he threw where they were moving the ball, running the ball, and he threw an interception on that one to the linebacker. Yeah.
Right.
I go back to that drive, which really, that's the drive that really, I'm going to say, ticked me off. Okay, you're running the ball well. Got all 3 of your timeouts. Why are you throwing it?
When you were running the ball very well.
You're running the ball well. Why are you throwing it?
And you even got and I know we hadn't done this a lot with Todd, but you got to give them just a little bit of credit. I mean, just a tad bit, because they ran out of shotgun today, son. They ran some counters where they pulled a backside guard and tackle, which they didn't never do that during the season. So give them a little credit there. But other than that, you know, there was no creativity.
But you're doing it with a suspect offensive line, though, man.
That's right. And they were doing it.
And they were doing it. Oh, see, that's my whole thing, though. You see something's. What's the old adage in sports? If something is working, you keep doing it until they stop it.
That's right. That's right.
And this joker, they're running out of the pistol. They're running RPOs. I mean, Malik was. I go back to it. He was comfortable in that. You could see that.
Oh yeah.
He was running it. And matter of fact, you could tell him and Derrick had worked on it, because in the previous games when they tried, they struggled with it. But you saw it was a lot smoother this time. You know, as far as who's going to get the ball and things of that nature. So when you see that, why on that drive when you got 3 timeouts, you got plenty of time on the clock, why are you throwing the ball? And why are you throwing the ball from the pocket?
I didn't move it.
It'd be different if you ran a fake handoff and rolled them out just to give them some room. Like if the throw's not there, throw it out of bounds. You know, that's what you do. But that's what we talk about play calling.
Right.
That's what we talk about play calling, because when you're just running straight from the pocket, you're making their offensive line have to block longer, and you got a weak offensive line. Bottom line, and the easiest thing for offensive linemen to do more than anything else is run blocking. So why wouldn't you run RPOs and end the rounds and everything especially when you got a receiver that can run with power?
Like Burks.
You only ran the end around once.
And he only had 1 target today.
And he only had, that's what I'm saying. You only ran it once, and he ran that bad boy and ran over some people. And I'm like, dude, really? You gotta stop. It's like what Rex Ryan said. You're out coaching yourself. He said, why are you thinking so hard?
Game plan's real simple.
Game plan's real simple. It's real simple. And he's right. They need to fire the OC.
They did. He almost, Derrick Henry almost had 100 yards in the first quarter. He was well on his way to bashing the Texans again.
Todd Downing has this thing where he feels like we can't just keep doing that until they stop it. We got to pass the ball to try to keep them off balance. No, dude, understand the game.
Right. And so now a little bit on special teams. The coverage was a little bit better today. Stonehouse continues to do his thing. 50-yard average in the tough conditions that were out there today is pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good tackling on special teams today. Can't say enough about that. And Randy, he was just extra point today, so he didn't really have many opportunities to kick field goals. But anyways, you look at the AFC South now. Technically, the Jags are in first place. Yep. Because of the head-to-head tiebreaker win they've got over the Titans at this point. And so, I mean, we got Dallas coming here Thursday, and right, winning in on next Sunday for the Titans.
And I don't, I'll be honest with you, man. Unless something changes, I don't know if they can do anything against Jacksonville. I mean, I just have to be honest about it.
I'm with you.
I think with the Nico coming back, the defense is going to be better than what we saw in that first game.
Right.
But offensively, I mean, everybody's pointing it out in every commentary you read. The Titans are only averaging 5.5 points in the second half.
Second half, right. 18 points a game.
18 points a game, and that's going down.
Yep. After today.
After today, that's going down. So you talking about they can't even get 3 touchdowns in a game at all.
Right.
And that's bad for an NFL offense. So
horrible.
I will say this. They put it out there last week on the social media and everything, and they're right. Mike Vrabel's getting ready to have his Mike Mularkey, Mike Munchak moment.
Yeah.
Come January.
Oh, yeah, it is. You're right.
And we might be looking at a whole new coaching staff from the head coach on down.
I'm going to tell you what, too, G. Don't be surprised if you don't hear Amy say something this week after losing to the Texans today.
That was a big thing with her dad, man.
Right.
He didn't want to lose to the Texans. But yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, that's really when you stop and think about it, I'm not sure what's on Vrabel's mind. I'm not sure what he's thinking about, in all honesty. And again, I know he knows more football than I do, but the bottom line is what we're seeing. If he thinks it's just a matter of the fact that we got so many injuries, we can't do anything, he's fooling himself. He's really fooling himself.
Right.
And if you can't admit that your offense stinks, you really are getting ready to go the way of Mike Mularkey and Mike Munchak.
Yeah, and it's that same old press conference speech. We got to execute better. We got to coach better. We got to play. No, man, that speech. Yeah, that speech is old. That speech. Yeah. It's more than that now, right? Because I mean, like you said, it's still things that these coaches can do to put these players in better positions, and they're just not doing it. They're just not doing it. For whatever reason, they're not doing it. And I don't know if they're tanking the rest of the season on purpose. It looks like it. I mean, it's hard not to say, right? It's hard not to say, hey, that's what it looks like, because it didn't make any sense. The decision making by our head coach Mike Vrabel is not like it used to be. We always talked about what a good decision maker he was, a good game manager he was. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So why he's not stepping in and say, hey, Todd, this ain't working.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago.
And the thing about it is, and the 4th and 8 going for it.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I really didn't have a problem with that. I understood.
I didn't either. Right.
But why isn't Derrick Henry in there?
Exactly.
I mean, you got to give the defense something to think about. Rex Ryan was on point this morning. He said, you take Derrick Henry out, you're making it easy for a defensive coordinator.
Right.
We ain't even got to think. Right. We know what you're doing. And I'm just looking at it like, man, you go for it on 4th and 8, put Derrick Henry in there. If nothing else, what you're gonna do, they're gonna have to honor him because they know even if you are throwing it, if you throw him the screen, he can take it to the house. So they're gonna honor that. It's the same thing, like I said, with the RPOs. You give Malik Willis two choices, you give the defense two things to think about and a possible third. Because you know either he's gonna run it or Derrick Henry's gonna run it. And the third is that Malik Willis could throw the ball.
Right.
So your options, you open up your offense that way. But instead of running RPOs, you're trying to make him a pocket passer. And that's not his game. Like I said, the time for training him for that is in the offseason.
Right.
It's not right now. Right now, you're trying to win football games. That's why I say they probably tank. I think the coaches are giving up. They're just like, let's try to make it look good, but we out of here.
That's what it looks like. I'm with you, man. So
I walked away thinking, I'm like, dang, I'm sorry, I renewed my season tickets for next year.
So let me get this in. Dion says he wants to know what we think about if Vrabel leaves after this season, who we like to see as our next head coach and what type of offense. So, the big name that's out there, and I think Jay Lou was talking about they still own the rights to him is Sean Payton. Yeah, Sean Payton, everybody likes him. He's an offensive genius. That would be a name that I would consider. There are some other young guys out there. The defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, he's a good coach. And I can't remember his name at the time. There's a couple other guys out there. I think you're going to have to adapt this offense to what's going on in the league now, though. You're going to need a young quarterback with a cannon arm, offensive line, solid offensive line, and the days of ground and pound. And I think that's just over. I think that's over. I mean, Derrick Henry can still be used in that type of offense as spreading it out because he can still run and be effective. He can catch out of the backfield. I just think you just got to have the right coach to bring that new mindset in. Because we know right now, as it stands today, that Vrabel's not going to make those changes under his regime. So, okay. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to go back to what we've always said about the game. The game is simple. It's not complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Run the ball, block well, pass efficiently, play good defense. You do those, you're going to win a lot of football games. You can win championships. And if you notice, one of the problems we've had with this team right now is the fact that the offensive line is crap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and our skill players have gone out the window. J-Rob let all our skill players go. Right. All right, so therefore you have really, even if you brought somebody else in, you still got to bring that talent in because it's not there.
Yeah, definitely.
And I will tell this to everybody because I've seen it on all high-powered offenses. All high-powered offenses have to have a good running game.
Yeah.
You have to have that. And that's what makes a high-powered offense. When we were leading the league in scoring with Arthur Smith last year, we were running the ball and we were throwing the ball.
Right.
That's really all you got to get back to. You got to get First thing you got to do, you got to get proper coaches. Right. Remember we said when Vrabel got hired, we said the one thing we wanted to see who his coordinators are going to be because that's going to be the key for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought in LaFleur and he brought in Dean Pease. LaFleur left, he gave Arthur Smith the job, and Arthur Smith took that job and they ran with it.
Right.
All right. Dean Pease left, you elevate Shane Bowen. Shane Bowen had a bad year because Vrabel was calling the defense. The following year, last year, Shane Bowen was calling the defense. The defense was lights out. All right. So really what you got to get down to, you got to go out and find some good coordinators. If Vrabel's going to stay, he's got to find some good he got to find another offensive coordinator, mm-hmm. and he's going to find another defensive coordinator. And I mean true coaches.
Yeah, definitely.
Not these system coaches, true coaches who can see, okay, this is what we have, this is what we're going to do. And we can manage the talent that we have. All right, go get Romeo Crennel or somebody coaches who know how to call a defense based on the talent that they have. They may not have the best talent, but the talent they got, they can put them in position to make plays.
And they can run different stuff to keep.
Run different stuff. Right. They can change it up from week to week.
Right.
All right. So that's the one thing. If Vrabel's going to stay, he's got to get a new OC. And I'm at the point now after watching. I'm still on the fence with Shane Bowen. I think a lot of what Shane Bowen is having to do, really, in all honesty, when you think about it, for the most part, he's handled pretty much every offense that's came up. Except
Yes.
and I just think the bottom line is I think the injuries really affected him as far as what he could do.
Yeah.
But really, it's going to depend on who's the GM, and they got to go out in the first order of business. They got to do is rebuild that offensive line.
That's the first thing to do.
If they don't do that, then if I'm somebody like Jeffrey Simmons or I'm like Kevin Byard or if I'm even Derrick Henry or something, I'm holding out. I'm holding out. Trade me, give me a new contract. I'm not coming back to this dumpster fire again because it just don't make any sense.
Right.
I saw today Jack Conklin just signed his second contract with the Cleveland Browns.
He did. He got an extension. That's right.
J-Rob let him go.
He did.
And really the downfall started with that one player.
That's where it started.
So really, that's what's got to happen. Vrabel's going to have to change his coordinators, especially the offensive coordinator. I could give Shane Bowen another shot.
Yeah.
He's going to change that, and he's going to get some of his position coaches another get some new ones there. I think he still needs a new offensive line coach, to be honest with you.
Oh, I agree with you.
Really, we need a good GM that's going to go out and help and can look, because you got to go out in the free agent market and get some old linemen, and you got to get some quality old linemen.
You got to spend some money.
Dennis Daly can't even get out of his stance before a rusher gets by him.
Man, that's awful.
That's
you know why it's so bad. I mean, it's bad, but you know why it's even worse is because the defender was lined up like 5 yards outside of him.
Yes.
So
he's coming wide,
right? And I'm like, gee whiz. I mean, he was still in the stance when the ball was snapped.
I know he stood up and the guy was by him. I'm like, dude, really? So really, that's why I was telling Jay Lou and I was texting. And I think you on it too. That's why I was saying, season ends, man. We got to do a salary cap thing because we got to figure out. We just got to look at this and see so it can make sense because J-Rob has really left us in a lurch, man.
I think everybody's starting to figure out why he got fired when he did.
That's what you seen it
because the more that comes out about the salary cap purgatory that we're in, and then the talent that's not there, and so
you got to do the GM's got to do one or two things. I mean, he may have to pull. Oh God, what's that coach that went from San Francisco? George Seifert.
Yeah,
he may have to pull a George Seifert when he first went to Carolina. And he basically had to purge the entire team.
Well, I mean, you see that coming, right? Yeah. I mean, you see it coming, especially with, a lot of people talking about Bud. He's making a lot of money. Taylor Lewan, we already know that. You got Robert Woods. Did you keep him? I know they just restructured him here not too long ago, but did you keep him around? There's a lot of guys on there. There's a lot of money could be freed up just by making a few moves that Jay Lou had been talking about. And it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be interesting. Now I agree with you though. I think it's gonna have to be you pretty much gonna have to rebuild this whole team on the offensive side of the ball. And some of the folks that have been here for a while, Derrick Henry's name is popping up as possibly one of those. You got to free up some money some kind of way.
And that's gonna be the thing, man. Because I'll be honest with you, when you look at it, and Taylor had text me talking about trading Derrick Henry. And because you probably could get a lot for him, and I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, but I don't think that's right move though.
I don't think Amy wants to do that.
I don't think so either.
I'll be honest with you. I think if there are players who really Amy would like to see stay, Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, and Jeffrey Simmons are those players that I think she's attached to. You really don't want to lose them, but you got to do something because you got too much money tied up. You got too much dead cap money.
So let me get this comment in because I think it's pretty interesting. So Greg Trotter, man, appreciate you joining us tonight. He says formations make it easier for the defense to stop the run. Totally agree with you. Malik shows me nothing. Even being a first-year player, he doesn't show me any awareness of the game. We've had first-year players before, Jake Locker, Vince Young, and Marcus Mariota. This one isn't even close to any of them. Now, Greg, do you agree that an offensive coordinator plays a big part in the production of your quarterback. Because I think so. Now, I agree that Malik's not ready to play, and he might not even be a franchise quarterback. But when you got a offensive coordinator that's not playing or suiting the offense to what he does the best, I just don't think you're giving him a fair assessment, because you're putting him in some situation where he's not comfortable with, and you're not running the offense to his strengths. Now, what those players that you mentioned, Mariota, they catered the offense to him a little bit to where he was able to move around the pocket some. Vince Young, of course, that whole debacle with him. Jake Locker, he was pretty decent when he came out, but still, the offensive coordinator is different. The offensive coordinator is different than what.
Yeah. No. And again, it goes back to what we said. We said it when they drafted Malik Willis. We said the one thing about Malik Willis that you liked
he's a project
was the arm talent.
Yeah,
but
that was it.
Bottom line, that he was not an NFL style quarterback. He was not a pocket passer, and whether or not he was going to be able to be one or not just depended upon his development. However, when pressed into service, like you just said, the offensive coordinator should cater to his strengths of what he can do, as opposed to trying to make him fit into what you want to do. You know what I mean? Right. And that's the problem we got. You know, I'm just not going to be that hard on Malik Willis right now, because I never expected anything out of him in the first place.
Exactly.
If you remember before we started, I said, don't play him this year.
Right. We all said that.
We all said that.
Right.
We didn't want to see him play this year.
Right.
But Tannehill got hurt, so he got pressed into service. My thing is, you got an offensive coordinator that doesn't know how to manipulate his offense to fit the talent that's on the field that he's got to work with. That's the problem. Will
says, do we think Tannehill would have won the game in that last drive? I don't know, because the way the offensive line was, I don't know, man. I mean, tied down into plays is still the same. I don't know. Yeah. That's a great question.
He would have called the game different, but tied down and still would have had him doing straight dropbacks and trying to get the offensive line to hold up until one of the receivers came open. The only thing I would say different, if Tannehill had played, you probably would have seen the tight ends catching more passes.
Yeah, and I'll say this, G-Wit, and I could be totally way off. I don't think the situation is the way it is if Tannehill plays. I think that the Titans win, but it's a close game. I really do. I don't think it comes down to us trying to move the ball at the end and try to score to win the game. So, I mean, that's what I think. But yeah, it's I don't know, at Thursday night, the Cowboys, Michael Parsons has averaged 2+ sacks a game for 6 straight games. Now, I don't know how many sacks he had today against the Eagles, but man,
it's going to be a stat game.
Oh man,
it's going to be a stat game.
They're going to line him up on 71 side the whole game.
Oh, why wouldn't? I would. It's going to be a stat game, in all honesty. And you know, unless Derrick Henry has a total breakout against the Cowboys, and even then, I don't think we can still win. But unless he has a total breakout against the Cowboys, that's just a stat game for the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense and offense would just pad their stats in that game.
Oh yeah, you got the 9th offense in the league and the 8th defense overall in the league coming to town.
That's a Philadelphia Eagle, Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars type of game.
Yeah.
That's what that type of game is.
So yeah, somebody already mentioned, they said you might as well go ahead and punch Jacksonville's ticket to the playoffs. I mean, at this point, the way they look, you're right.
I was, like I said, I was thinking we could win this today. And
I did too.
In all honesty, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is, but
I put it like this. I feel like Mike Vrabel did last Sunday against the Chargers, when if people just kept going down and getting hurt. It's like, you know, there's just nothing else you can say.
I know. I mean, it looked, and I agree with you. After the game last week, I was like, man, they'll come in, they'll win this week. But you know, things changed during the week. You had people on IR. You lost the rest of your starting offensive line, and now you got makeshift guy. Even MPF went out today with an ankle injury. Don't know the status of him. You had Clark playing right tackle, which he didn't do too bad. But again, you playing against a Houston's Texans defense that don't really have a major pass rusher threat on their team. But again, That's right. They were getting that. And somebody said, but see, somebody said in the chat, is like Houston is the prime example how you put subpar talent in the right position to win a game.
Yep.
You
That's
saw.
what
So it could be done. It could be done. It could be done.
It took them all season to figure it out, but you see them doing it. And that's what I'm talking about with Vrabel and Downing and that whole offensive staff. Because obviously nobody's speaking up, and obviously Tim Kelly, who's supposed to be the passing coordinator, he's probably gone looking for another job.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
You definitely don't see anything going on here.
Right.
I mean, really, like I said, Vrabel's gonna have to go and just start. If he comes back and say Todd Downing is good, we're gonna bring him back another year. His fan base, this fan base is gonna lose their lunch.
Right.
You're gonna lose some season ticket holders.
You're gonna lose a bunch.
You're gonna lose a bunch of season ticket holders because you just can't convince people that this offense is good or would be good if you had healthy players. You can't convince people of that. You just can't.
No. Yeah, and you saw that last year, right?
Yep. Oh, we saw it from the get-go.
Right.
We said it from the first game.
From the first game
last season when he first took over. We said it. We all said the same thing. How is it that we can't ever get it all together where both sides of the ball, offense and defense, are playing good football?
Deion said the Titans will lose Deion Bonner for the first time since 1977.
Hey,
man, I think he's gonna lead the line of a bunch of folks.
Yeah, there's gonna be a long line following after you because it keeps happening. I mean, you just gotta say it.
I know it just don't make sense. It don't make sense, man. It just don't make any sense.
He's in Mike Munchak, Mike Malarkey territory right now. That's the territory he's in, and January is gonna be the tell of the tape.
Yeah, and
we might have to get a whole new head coach. You never know.
We might, and for him to keep saying that same old tired, coach better, execute better, complimentary football statement every time. It's just
there's nothing else he can say without throwing somebody under the bus.
I mean,
and to me, I'm throwing people under the bus. I'm like, look,
you gotta do something.
It's still gonna come. Even if he threw him under the bus, it's gonna come back to him. I mean, but the bottom line is he's going to go out and find, if he's going to stay here, I'm going to preface it with that. If he's going to stay here, he's got to go out and find a real OC and possibly a real DC.
Well, I mean, just like we said a couple weeks ago, he might be eyeing that Ohio State job. Who knows? Who knows, man? Because it don't make sense. None of this makes sense at all.
At all.
Yeah, professional football, this is your job. And it's like he's sitting on the side like, well, okay, whatever. Y'all go ahead and do what you want to
do. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, like I said, as far as the NFL is concerned, this has got to be. I would say this, and I said it last week. I said offensively, we're in Ken Wisenhunt status.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
We're in Ken Wisenhunt status.
What was he 3-20?
Yeah. Well, no, it was worse than that.
Yeah.
It was worse than that. He was 2-14. No, he was 5 and no, he wasn't even 5. He wasn't 5. He was actually 3-20. Yeah. He got fired in the middle of his second season.
That's right.
So he was 3-20. I mean, he was horrible. He was downright horrible. And Todd Downing is right there at that status. 18 points a game, 5.5 points in the second half.
Yeah.
In the second half.
But hey, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie on that G with J. Lou was out tonight, man. He's on the chat, though, man. Appreciate you supporting us through that way. Thank you for getting all your comments, your questions in, and support of the show and the sharing of the show, man. Thank y'all for all those things. We'll be back. This week is a short week for us, too. Thursday night football. The Dallas Cowboys come in to Nissan Stadium, and it'll probably, if they had a running clock in the NFL, it'd probably be one of those.
I give the referees credit. They were trying to do a running clock in the second half. I give them that much.
They call a lot of stuff in bounds.
Yeah, they did, man. They did. But man, it was funny though, man. Thursday night is gonna be funny. The only good thing about Thursday night is supposed to be like in the 60s.
Okay, so it won't be that bad.
It won't be that bad.
But hey, guys, thank y'all for joining us tonight. Catch us next week, man. Look out for the time for the show. Since it's a Thursday night game, we'll put that out there so y'all can join us and get your comments and questions in. Eddie Arnell, G Witt, man. J. Lou in his absence, man. We are halftime adjustments. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.